It's time now for another interviewee, and I have a musical artist called The Younger One on my show. Welcome to my radio show, Younger One. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. And I first wanted to ask you, were you born and raised with music?
I think as far back as I can remember, yeah, I was raised with like Oasis and
Ah,
Busted.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember Busted, yeah. And like all like that's my earliest like musical memory.
Mm.
But my brother and my uncle really loved Oasis, so like I always grew up with them.
Oh, fab. And I understand you're from Cardiff originally.
Yes,
And did you
yes.
transition to London? And if so, how was that transition for you? Was it quite a big step to make?
It was. Do you know what? It was Cardiff. I've been living there for 23 years when I moved, so I was kind of ready for a change of
Mm.
environment, and you know being there was really really fun. But being in London now is super different. It's so fast.
Mm.
Everything's so fast paced. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, it was good. I think it's nice that people come visit as well from Cardiff, and like we get to do like all the tourist
Mm.
stuff, like Big Ben, London Eye. But yeah, it was really good, and I'm really enjoying it here.
Lovely. Living the dream.
Yes, yeah, I guess you could
Yeah.
say
And more crucially, we're here to talk about your new single. Can you tell me what it's called, please?
it is called "My Mum Told Me About You."
Okay. And I had a wee listen to it, and it has a kind of like mid 1990s Britpop vibe, if not a bit of nostalgia to it.
Yes, so it was produced by a guy called Jonah Brew, who's a very talented producer, and I remember I found the beat on YouTube. Like I was just going through his YouTube and I was like just trying to see what he was up to, and this one came up, and it was instantly like I had the hook for it already,
Mm.
and it was kind of just like about filling in the blanks. But the song was never meant to go out. The song I wrote it for my girlfriend to kind of. It was like we just finished the project, so it was kind of I was just writing songs for friends and family,
Mm.
just kind of like send them over and like, oh, this one's about the time we did this, or this one's about this, and I remember I had this idea and I wrote it in like one night,
Mm.
and when we woke up in the morning, I I was like, oh, I wrote this song for you. Do you want to hear it? And I played it for her, and she really liked it. And then she was like, oh, you should put that out. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure if anyone really like it. And then I showed it to the label, and they were like, oh, this is actually like really really good. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, should we put it on the project? They're like, yeah, let's do it. And then it kind of just like came out of nowhere. It felt like it was just meant to be something for my girlfriend. Then it
Mm.
just everyone was like, yeah, let's just put it out.
That's cool. It's a perfect pop song. Radio presenters would like it because it's less than 2 minutes in length.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, what is it like
155,
159 or
yeah,
something?
something like that. It's measuring on my
155. Yeah,
counter anyway.
it is.
Did it take long to write and compose this one?
Oh, not at all. I
Mm.
think there's only. I think it goes. Uh, what is it? It's like verse, bridge, hook.
Mm.
I think it is, and then that's all the song is. It was like it was just a song I wrote for my girlfriend.
Mm.
It wasn't meant to be like
Yeah.
revolutionary or like it wasn't ever meant to be like the biggest song ever. It was kind of just like a nice little song, and then it just kind of turned into this like, oh yeah, we'll just put it out and
Mm.
just see how it does because it sounds nice.
And if music was a food, how would you describe it?
Music was a food.
If your music was a food, how would you
Ooh.
describe it?
Oh, my music.
Yeah.
Okay, if my music was a food. Do you know what? I think I'll be honest, yeah. I think it would be salt and vinegar squares because I think like I think when you first have them, it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's like kind of nice. But then if you have too much of it,
Mm.
you start to hate it. But then when you have it like a week, when you have them like a week later, they taste
Yeah.
banging, and you're like, wait, why did I forget? That's how I
Mm.
feel anyway about my. I feel like too much of it, disgusting.
Mm.
But when you listen to it in the perfect amount, it sounds good.
So true. Good answer. That is because the squares. I remember them. I think they still do them somewhere, but beside the point. Got that nostalgia feel to it still. So good answer
Yeah,
there. So this single, will there be any follow-ups to it in the next couple of months or so?
yeah. So we have a whole other album coming out. I'm not sure when, but we're going out to Sweden in 2 weeks to go and shoot the album
Mm.
cover and some music videos. Um, but yeah, this next project is gonna be the one. I think I've listened to it so much. I've had it finished for about 3 or 4 months, kind of like kind of thing. It's just kind of I don't know. It just feels I don't know. The songs on there don't necessarily sound like they'd be trendy songs or like like TikTok songs or whatnot. It's more of like a feel and a moment
Mm.
rather than like trying to make something
Mm.
to get it to take off on said platform.
So exciting times ahead, and being true to yourself, you got your own individuality as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a couple more questions to go. Would you say you're a creative person? And if so, being creative, what part of the day do you feel the most artistic?
I think I'd say I'm relatively creative. I like drawing. I like playing the guitar. I like coming up with like album covers,
Mm.
even if it is just like drawing stuff in my notebook. But that'll kind of like spiral into like, oh, this could be a name of a
Mm.
song, and then you find a beat or you make a beat, and it's like, oh, this is the song that I was just drawing about, and then everything kind of just comes together strangely. But I think, do you know what? The time I love working between like 11 and like 6 in the morning. Like
That's yeah.
I like
That's
that's
the
the
answer
best
most.
time.
That's the most. That's perhaps the answer most artists give me actually. So yeah,
Uh huh.
it's a good time. Night owl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Uh huh. I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
And at the moment, we're just on a video call. I can see the background. You've got a lot of clothing there. Is wardrobe kind of an important factor in your musical career?
Oh, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, I think just looking at like when I first started doing music, I was really into like Tyler Creator and how he was dressing, and I really loved like putting like colors
Mm.
together. But now it's more of a style based and like shaped.
Mm.
I don't know how to explain like how clothes are shaped more than like what they look like
Mm.
is what I really like. I'm really into vintage football shirts right now
Oh
as well.
right,
Like
yeah. They
yeah,
seem to be
I
making a
got
comeback, don't they? They seem to be quite popular
oh
now.
honestly yeah I know honestly I remember I got this one that's literally sat right in front of me right now. That's hung up actually. Um, it's I can't remember what year it is. I think it's like a 2001 Man City shirt, and I found it on eBay for like £15 or something like that. And it was only because it was like midday, so like
Mm.
everyone was either like working or like doing something else, and I was just kind of like, oh, I put a bid on it, didn't think anything of it, and it came through, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, that's cool.
yeah. Grab yourself a bargain.
Yeah.
Finally, you're on social media platforms where people can give you like a little follow just to, give a bit of support, find out more about you.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Twitter, I'm on YouTube. Believe it or not, I'm on Spotify as
Oh,
well and
okay.
Apple Music.
Yeah. How do you find
Yeah.
how do you find TikTok? Do you find that's kind of the next level up now? Most people are on there now.
Yeah, I've been doing uh, TikTok for like like 3 years. I think I started in 2020. It's really really fun. I think I like it because I can post stuff on there without kind of really thinking about it.
Mm.
Like with like Instagram, everything had to be like, oh, everything has to be super, like it looks super good, and like
Yeah.
the posts have to be relevant. Whereas on TikTok, it's just like just do whatever
Yeah.
and just have fun with it, you
Yeah.
know.
Sure. Well, young one, thanks very much for telling me about your music highlights so far. I'm going to play your song now for my listeners. Would you like to introduce it on my show? So my name's Dannison, and this is a Dannison Overflow show.
Hi, I'm on the Danny Sun Show. You're about to hear my next song. It's called "My Mum Told Me About You."
Thanks very much for joining me today, younger one. Take care and all the best with this record. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ta-ra
Thank
now.
you.